How about that? Can you hear me now? Oh, look at that. IT problems on a live stream. Who'd have thunk? All right, let's try that again. Okay. So welcome to Friday. You guys made it. Can you guys hear me now? Are we all good? Okay, good. All right. Awesome. Okay. IT issues. This is why I love live streams actually, because you just don't know what will happen. So it's good to see all of you. Just put a hello into the chat. Say hi. Let us know where you're coming in from. John Henderson, thank you for joining us. Aliun. Chris Daniels, my man, CD in the house. So yeah, it's been an eventful week. But look, I've been wanting to do this live stream for the longest time and actually come up for air, do the deck. I had actually done this state of the API security market maybe like a month or so ago. And the audio, there was like this really annoying buzzing sound in the background. And so I think my mic was too hot. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn, but it doesn't seem like it's broadcasting to LinkedIn. We're broadcasting to Twitter, YouTube. It looks like a lot of you are coming in from YouTube, Restream, Facebook, Twitch as well. But when I went to LinkedIn, I wasn't broadcasting. I don't know what's up with that. So I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can go check out the LinkedIn broadcast and tell me if it's working. Anyway, so I guess just on with the show, right? So we're going to talk about API security today. And the thing about it is that I'm always talking about how nascent the API security market really is. And I really feel like it's really trying to figure itself out. And you've got these different approaches to API security, and a lot of the companies are doing them differently. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the different solutions, the different approaches. I'm going to give you a list of functional requirements for those of you that have a project starting for API threat management, API security. This is an episode that you definitely don't want to miss. Because I'm going to actually help you build your functional requirements document and what you should be kind of looking for in an API security solution. So without further ado, let's get started. All right. So hopefully there's no IT issues with this. Bring this over. And I'll check in on you guys on chat every few moments, but make sure everything's working okay. Just make sure you guys are seeing that. Okay, yay. All right, so we have a PowerPoint. Hey, Patel from Chicago. I actually lived there. I lived in Chicago for a while. I lived in Crystal Lake, Patel, if you know where that is, right outside of Schaumburg. Actually just took my wife Mel there a few weeks ago, and we had some hot dogs at Portillo's. I miss it. I miss Portillo's. All right, cool. So let's do this. All right, so we are going to talk about the state of the API security market. Oh, Ramon, thank you for visiting us from Venezuela. Thank you for joining us. Awesome. So just a reminder to all of you, please put your questions in the chat. Let me know, because I'm actually going to be doing a Q&A portion of this show to answer any questions that any of you might have. All right, so here's a quick agenda. I'm basically going to talk about why you should listen to me as it relates to API security. For those of you who don't know who the heck I am, the state of API security market, I'm going to talk about the wrong approach to API security and why I believe it's the wrong approach, backed by empirical data. Functional requirements for API security and demystifying the API security market. All right, so first and foremost, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe and smash that bell icon. This is the best way that you can support me. So if you're like laying there in bed at night, you're wondering, how can I support Alyssanite? She's so awesome. I love her videos. I love what she does. How do I support her? Subscribe to my channel and hit those buttons. And I am trying to get to 4,000 watch hours on YouTube. So watch my videos, even if you put them on your TV and your living room, and then you walk when you leave and just leave the videos running. That works too. Just kidding. All right. So let's talk about the state of the API security market. This is, I think, the best way I can graphically illustrate the market. you have shift left and shield right security. And so on the shift left side, that's really around hardening the code and making it secure while it's being developed, right? So there's several solutions that play in this space. Now, for those of you who recognize some of these logos up here, and if there's any vendors in the audience right now, if any of this is inaccurate, please definitely let me know in the chat. Put it in the chat. Just say, hey, look, human security can also be passive, deployed passively. Or No Name also has the capability to insert itself into the SDLC it builds up. Whatever it is, if any of this is not accurate, let me know. But I try and be as accurate as I can. So anyway, right now there's two major players in the build time part of API security, and that's really 42 Crunch and Approve. The interesting thing about Approve is it will actually allow you to compile an SDK into your mobile app while you're developing the code. So 42 Crunch will actually insert itself into your ID, and actually warn your developer when they're doing something naughty, when they're doing something wrong, or writing insecure code. So these are great two build time solutions. You also have your passive solutions as you start to shift right or shield right once the API is being deployed. And that's 42 Crunch. And if you notice across all of these, 42 Crunch covers really the entire landscape from build time all the way to shield right. No Name Security is an amazing new player now on the show. They just appeared on the stage, came out of stealth. They're doing some really wicked things with API security. They're a passive solution. Salt Security, passive solution. Basically, what that means is you're going to hang these right off of a tap or a span port and allow them to be able to ingest that traffic that's going to your APIs. So for the solutions like No Name, for example, if you want that solution to be able to take action on bad traffic or bad things going to your APIs, you can actually configure it to take action on downstream devices. So telling downstream devices, hey, block that traffic, whether it's a MuleSoft or whatever, to actually action on that bad traffic. Now, inline solutions, there's quite a few players in the space. Again, you've got 42 Crunch, you have Approve. Approve will actually sit in line and interdict that traffic going to your APIs and say, hey, you're not carrying this special header token. You clearly didn't originate from an authorized mobile app that we've been compiled with as an SDK. You're not even allowed to talk to the API. Human, another new kid on the block. Human's doing some really cool things as well. They used to be known as White Ops. They recently went through rebranding. Human is doing some really sexy things in API security as well. Now, the interesting thing about Human, and I should actually put an asterisk there, is Human isn't really a pure play API security solution, meaning what they're actually attacking is the bot problem or the synthetic traffic problem going to your APIs. So they are an API security solution, but they don't do a lot of the other things that the other API security solutions focus in on. Human is singularly focused on the bot problem. They are a bot mitigation, bot security problem, and bots are a real problem, of course, and still a significant amount of your legitimate users' traffic and bandwidth all going to synthetic traffic. With bots, you've got credential stuffing, you've got ATO, account takeover, all of that stuff really sort of driven by botnets. So Human is a new player in the space, just rebranded, and also fall in the API security space. Traceable is another company that just came out of stealth mode. They're doing some really wicked things with distributed tracing and really getting closer to that app on the back end, injecting themselves, or I shouldn't say injecting, but I guess instrumenting the app with their agent. So it can basically get closer to that app, understand it, understand the app context, and apply all kinds of magic around distributed tracing. Scanning and fuzzing, this is actually a relatively new space in API security. So 42 Crunch does allow you to actually scan your APIs for vulnerabilities. Detectify, another sexy newcomer in this space, what they're doing now, they previously had a platform where they would actually buy exploits, zero-day exploits from vulnerability researchers, and the vulnerability researchers would actually make recurring revenue off of their exploits. So this is sort of an alternative to the bug crowds and the HackerOnes of the world, the hacker bug bounty platforms. So what they're doing is they're offering a stream of continuous revenue. So every time their exploit is used by a customer, they actually get paid. It's really interesting. And Detectify actually is about to launch a new API fuzzer. Now, in full transparency, a lot of these API security companies are clients of mine. So Approve, No Name, Human, Traceable, Detectify, they're all clients of mine, but they did not sponsor this episode. So I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm not being paid to say any of the stuff in this deck. As a matter of fact, I'm sure some of my clients would say, Alyssa, we wish you would have given us a dedicated slide and talked about just our solution. All of you trust me, and I have that that trust from you, and in being able to be product agnostic and really not just representing just one particular brand. I want to give you the facts. I want to tell you what are best practices and what, from an attacker's point of view, from a hacker's perspective, which one of these were more effective. So why you should listen to me, again, 21 years as a recovering hacker. I wrote the book on hacking APIs. As a matter of fact, I'm in the process of writing it. It will be published in early 2022. In 2019, I hacked 30 financial services and fintech mobile apps and APIs. I hacked 30 mHealth and Fire APIs and apps. I hacked federal and state law enforcement vehicles through their APIs. That was really interesting. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out the YouTube video. There's 2 trailers on it. There's a documentary coming that law enforcement permitted me to hack. I actually took remote control vehicles for both federal and state law enforcement vehicles through the APIs. About to release a new set of vulnerabilities in Fire apps and APIs. I'm about to release a new set of vulnerabilities at Money 2020 in financial services and fintech APIs. So if you are coming to Vegas and you're going to be at Money 2020, I will actually be keynoting that. I'm so excited. I spoke at Money 2020 in 2019 before they shut down for 2020 because of the pandemic. And this is their first return back to a live show. And I'm actually opening up the conference as the keynote speaker. I'm so jazzed. I'm so excited. The other thing is Gartner trusts me. So if Gartner trusts me, you should trust me, right? So Gartner actually invited me to speak to all of their API analysts to actually present to Gartner on the state of the API security market. So they know that I'm very close to a lot of the API security vendors. As a matter of fact, a lot of venture capital funds and a lot of private equity funds, before they invest in an API security company, have reached out to me and asked me to talk to them about what I'm saying and what I think about these API security solutions. So really quickly, I'm going to jump back over here and chat. Happy Friday, Andrea. Thank you for joining. It's so good to see you. Absolutely adore you, Andrea. Rakesh, thank you for joining. Ramon, awesome. Everyone keep saying hi. Tell us where you're coming in from in the world. Let me know. Again, I don't know what's up with LinkedIn. Like, I've never had problems broadcasting to LinkedIn, but it's just, I think from my perspective on that side, it looks like it's just broadcasting. Let me know. If someone can go check LinkedIn and tell me what's up. Tell me if I'm actually broadcasting on LinkedIn now, if it's working. I don't know what's going on. Andrew says, happy Friday. I have more mHealth APIs to talk about soon. Yay. Yes, for sure. And again, that Fire research is dropping here soon with the help of the team over at the Biohacking Village as well. We're talking to them about being a platform for that unveiling. So really exciting. All right. So what not to do, basically anything that I don't mention in this deck. No, just kidding. Don't just rely on code obfuscation in your mobile app. So one really important step that I go through in my process of hacking APIs is I actually look at the mobile app and I do a static code analysis on it. And Andrea, I got Andrea on this too. She's downloaded MobSF. I'm so proud of her. So this is called static code analysis. And that's when you actually extract the APK mobile app off of your Android device. You throw it on your workstation and then you import it into MobSF or Mobile Security Framework. If you haven't checked it out, it's a free download. Go grab it from GitHub. You can download it, install it for free. and it will let you, it will basically unpack, it will reverse engineer the mobile app and bring it back to the source code, allowing you to search for hard-coded API keys and tokens and credentials. You will not believe the kind of things that I've found hard-coded in mobile apps. The developer, I guess, just didn't think you could see it. Don't use web application firewalls. I'm going to repeat this again. Do not use WAFs to secure APIs. Stop doing it. Stop. Shame on you. Stop. It's not meant to protect against the kind of attacks that I've been loving against APIs. I find a lot of organizations, as a matter of fact, a lot of the APIs that I've breached in the past were secured behind WAFs. WAFs are rules-based systems. They're meant to protect legacy monolithic web apps against things like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, all those kind of things. They are not designed to understand the context of the app and look for things like BOLA vulnerabilities or me exploiting basically broken object level authorization. That's where I'm authenticated and I'm allowed to be there because I'm presenting a token. I have that OAuth token, but I'm not authorized to be requesting the thousands of patient records I'm requesting or whatever it is. So do not use WAFs. If you're using them now, go out there, find any one of those API security vendors I mentioned in the last slide and take a look at it. And this presentation is meant to help you develop that functional requirements document for what to look for in an API security solution. Don't use security as a feature with API gateways. A really big thing right now, and maybe I'm just being cheeky here, but I really think someone in the room, in the back room somewhere, locked up in the closet at these API gateway companies, like, there's a lot of money to be made in API security. We need to start adding some of these features to get in on some of that budget. And I've never been a fan of security as a feature. You should be using purpose-built security solutions built from the ground up. Stop using WAFs. Stop using API gateways for API security. I'm sure my car will get keyed for saying this, but I don't care. I say it like it is. And all of you love me for that, right? Don't rely on your CDN for API security. This is another new wave that I'm seeing where CDNs are getting in the game and saying, hey, look, we've got these customers. We want to make them sticky. They're behind our CDN. They've got APIs. Instead of them going out and buying an API security solution, let's sell them something. Let's offer this as a service. And I hate it. You don't know what they're using. A lot of times I'm sure it's a web application firewall. Just no. Go out there, pick any one of those solutions, do a proof of concept with them, play with it, look at what it can do. They're designed specifically, purpose-built for API attacks. All right. This is where I really kind of just dumb down really what you want to look for in an API security solution. Visibility. You cannot protect what you don't know you have. Let me say that again. You cannot protect what you don't know you have. Visibility is very important. I'm going to talk about this here shortly in the functional requirements, but make sure that your API security solution can go out there, can see all of your API traffic, identify them, tag what kind of data that it's serving, that sort of thing. Application context. I'm a big believer in context and security, and that's why I believe a lot of the signature-based stuff fails. It doesn't understand context. The closer you can get to your API endpoint, the closer you can get that app. Hell, let the API security solution instrument that app, whatever. The closer you can get, I think the better. The more context you can get on that application, the better. No matter how the company approaches that, right? That context and security, or they instrument the app or they don't, whatever it is, look for this API security solution to have context of the backend. OWASP API security top 10. It's very simple. Just see if your API security solution that you're interested in buying covers maybe not all of them, maybe some of them, maybe a majority of them, but make sure and trust but verify. And I'll talk about that soon in a minute too. Vulnerability management and configurations, make sure that it has the ability to actually identify vulnerabilities in APIs. We all know that as humans write code, there's going to be vulnerabilities. There's going to be problems. Data identification. This is another big one. Being able to identify the data that those APIs are serving. Let me flip back here. Not sure if the compliance people are quite ready for don't use a WAF. Thanks, Jay. I think there's a lot of people not ready for that, like the WAF vendors. Hopefully, none of them are in the audience. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has been able to check LinkedIn or not. Last I checked, I couldn't actually see that I was broadcasting. Here, let me flip over here and check it. What's going on with LinkedIn? I've never had a problem with LinkedIn. What's the deal? Checking my notifications here. Is this it? No. What's going on with LinkedIn? Is LinkedIn down? Is it just not? Or maybe I am streaming on LinkedIn and I'm losing my mind. Hey, CD, go check on LinkedIn for me, Chris. Tell me if I'm broadcasting on LinkedIn, because last I checked it wasn't happening. I don't know what the hell is going on. All right. Okay, before I get into the functional requirements, I want to make this abundantly clear. Listen very carefully. This isn't meant to be an all or nothing list. These might not be everyone's requirements. I am simply taking some things that are a collection of different capabilities that different API security solutions provide, and you need to make a decision for your own environment. Ooh, I need to make that clear too. APIs are not one size fits all. Everyone has different APIs for different reasons, for different things. You got GraphQL, you've got REST, whatever, and also in the context of your organization. So the security solution should adapt to that specific environment. The API security solution shouldn't be one size fits all either. So just, understand that I'm not saying that if the API vendor doesn't have every single one of these features, it means it's bad. I am not saying that. So don't go on social media and tweet that. Alyssa Knight said that if it doesn't have all these features, then it's not good. That's not what I said. You're my witnesses. So, just use this as kind of like a list that, do you want to include these functional requirements in your FRD as you're planning out that API security project? Okay, are you ready to get started? Are you sitting down? We're doing this. It's happening. All right. Decide if you want it to be inline or passive. This is a very important question because, like I said, the API security market is very fragmented. There's a lot of things happening in that ecosystem. You've got passive where, some solutions just want to hang off a span port. Some are like, you have to be inline. It's up to you. A lot of people don't like things in line. A lot of them are like, yeah, I don't want you going to be. I mean, this is our entire business. If you go down, my business stops. But some are like, I need you to be in line. I need to know that you can immediately stop an attack that's happening. I don't know what works for you, what makes sense for you in your environment, what's your risk appetite. But you need to figure that out before you decide what kind of solution you want. And that way you only look at passive solutions or you only look at inline solutions. Does it support the cloud service providers you use? This is important. I'm a big believer in the fact that a lot of organizations, not just as a CISO myself, but that a lot of organizations are decommissioning their data centers, they're decommissioning their server rooms, they're decommissioning their closets, and they're moving everything to workloads in the cloud, EC2, Google Cloud, Azure, whatever. I firmly believe, and you heard this here first on Knight TV, Alyssa Knight said this first, that we are getting to a point where if your company is not developing cloud first, meaning that it's an on-prem solution and this new permanent, in many cases, work from home environment where companies are selling their office buildings. Look at what Salesforce just did. They just got done building that beautiful Salesforce tower in San Francisco, and then a few years later, just sold it. What was it, 160 million? They're like, yeah, we're going to let everyone work from home for the rest of the time. It's permanent. So, I mean, how can you not now be a distributed architecture, an agent sitting on people's laptops at their home network, or in supporting every cloud? I really think a lot of organizations are getting rid of infrastructure. I think that's where we're headed. I think that's what's happening. So if you were not supporting a multi-cloud environment, vendors in the audience, stop what you're doing, go over to your developers and get coding. And you need to support a multi-cloud environment because a lot of organizations, especially like mine and a lot of others, they're a hybrid cloud. They aren't just like, oh, we're just going to stay in AWS, we're just going to stay in Azure, or I always leave out Google Cloud, but GCP. A lot of them are multi-cloud, so you need to be able to support multi-cloud. And if you haven't yet, so the train's leaving the station. Okay, let me flip back to chat. Okay. Chris, don't depend on WAF. I completely agree. What's up? No one's telling me if I'm broadcasting to LinkedIn or not. Chris, go check it for me. Chris Daniels, I'm talking to you. Go check it for me. Let me know. Am I like, what's happening with LinkedIn? Is it, I don't know if it's down. I seem to be streaming everywhere else. I don't know what the deal is. Anyway, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get to these comments and questions, I promise. So frictionless deployment, SaaS model, does it have a SaaS model? This is really interesting. It's funny, 20 years ago, I remember kind of walking into the deployment of a product and being like, oh my God, I need to get a hotel room near the office. I'm going to be living here for the next couple of weeks. Because the installation took so freaking long, and, service packs and required patches and all that. Now in the world of SaaS, like a lot of this is just, hey, you know what? We'll run the server for you in our cloud, and you just kind of send us stuff. So there's SaaS model API security solutions. For example, No Name has one. They're SaaS. Can it find misconfigurations? Oh my God, this is so big. You won't believe, or maybe you would, for you hackers in the audience, you won't believe how many misconfigurations I find on APIs. This is a huge impetus to why a lot of APIs get hacked and a lot of security breaches happen is because of misconfigurations. They didn't mean for that configuration to be there, or they misconfigured it, whatever. Misconfigurations, can the API security solution detect that? That's another question. Can it find vulnerabilities, tag them, and allow them to be sent to developers for remediation easily? DevSecOps. Like, if I'm in there in the security operations center and I'm a SOC analyst and I'm monitoring my environment, and my product, my API security solution is telling me, hey, you've got a vulnerability here. I want to be able to quickly get that vulnerability and all the details around it, right? So remember, most of your SOC analysts, they're not coders, right? A lot of them aren't coders. So what details can I get from my API security solution that's telling me that vulnerability is there? And then being able to send that easily over to my dev team, either plugging directly into maybe generating a ticket in Jira or ServiceNow, or actually plugging directly into where that SVN is, or where that source code repository is. Damn it, I knew it. Thanks, John. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, what's up with that? All right, well, that sucks. I don't know what's going on with that. I've never had a problem broadcasting to LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on. I wonder if my token expired. Maybe my token with Restream expired. Oh, well. Sorry. Hopefully everyone on LinkedIn knows to come to YouTube. Okay. So yeah, misconfiguration vulnerabilities. So yeah, DevSecOps, not DevOps, DevSecOps. Just making sure that you can easily communicate that to your developers. Can it provide prescriptive direction to developers on how to fix the vulnerabilities and misconfigurations found? That's really important. I mean, look, a lot of you know there's no shame in it, and I'm actually loud and proud about it. I am not a developer. I do not want to stare at lines of code all day. I'm not a developer. I do not want to dig into code. I just want to be able to copy and paste something from my API security solution and send it to my developers and say, fix this. So yeah. All right. Can it import in your Swagger and Open API files? This is a functional requirement, right? Like, if I have a Swagger file, I know it's no longer called that. I get it. Open API file. I just love that name, Swagger. It's just got a cool, sexy kind of swagger. All right. Can it import that? You know what? I'm going to go against Grant. I'm going to call it Swagger. That's it. I've decided I'm calling it Swagger. I don't care. Can it import your Swagger file? That's important. Checking the API endpoint against that Swagger file and those definitions, like the Swagger file says this, but the API can actually do this. This again, misconfigurations, stuff like that. That's important. Here's another thing. Can it inventory your APIs and export that Swagger out for third-party testing? So there's some security solutions that can take that actually take those, ingest in that API information, and then export out, kick out a Swagger file. It's really interesting. Does it have application context? Is it application aware? Does it have that context? Does it know what that backend API endpoint speaks? Does it know kind of what it does and what it expects? That is so important. You need context and security. And I firmly believe we're now in 2021, I guess almost 2022. We're now at a point where we expect that context now. Security solutions cannot be dumb, right? Artificial intelligence, right? Intelligence. This is all so important. Can it find shadow APIs and ones not talking to your gateways? So not only can you find my APIs that I'm struggling to try and protect, right? You can't protect what you don't know you have. So not only just finding those shadow APIs, but what about the ones that are not communicating with my API gateway? What about those ones that are just kind of sitting there quiet and they're internet facing and I didn't know? Or even partner facing can be trouble. But a lot of the API security solutions out there, if they have this capability, will get that data as an export from like MuleSoft, for example. But what if the APIs aren't talking to the gateways? That's important. So finding those vulnerable APIs, and just cataloging them, whether they're talking or not, is important. Does it support GraphQL as well as REST? Does it just support REST? Obviously, there's more than one type of API. Do you care? Is this something you care about? And remember, I want to say this again because of all the trolls out there. I want to say this again. I'm not saying that the API security solution has to have every one of these functional requirements. I'm just giving you things to think about, giving you questions to ask. Mobile APIs. Can you compile their SDK with the app? Again, Approve does this as well. So if you're a mobile API security solution, being able to authenticate not just that user, but also authenticate the app. It's very important. Does it really detect all of the OWASP API security top 10? Really? Really? Okay, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to say who this was, but there was an API security vendor that I refused to work with because they were saying that they detected all of the OWASP API security top 10 items, 1 through 10, all of them. And I realized in my testing and using the product and playing around with it that they were lying. And, my credibility in, as an influencer, as a product evangelist, as a content creator, that means a lot to me. What you guys and girls think about me and your trust in me, and like, you know what, Alyssa's not going to put her name on something that she hasn't really kind of blown up or really tested or really believes in, right? She's not going to do that. That credibility means the world to me, and I will protect it. And this company just said that they did something that they couldn't. They said they detected specific API OWASP API security top 10 items that they couldn't, or were either really bad at or tried to, and it just wasn't there. Anyway, I only select specific companies to work with. I only work with certain companies. Service providers, like customers, also have the ability to decide who their customer is going to be. So that's important to me. Does it have a freemium model? So some of the API security vendors, again, they don't have to have one. But there are some security vendors who are offering a free version of their product. Now, it may be a very fat free version of it. It may only allow you to monitor one API out of 1,000 that you have. But maybe this is important to you. Maybe you want a free version or free tier to kind of play around with. Yeah, maybe that's a hard requirement for you. I don't know. Does it just sit outside and watch, or can it instrument the app, getting an inside out view? This is another functional requirement. Do you want it to be able to actually instrument that app, or, and I know people hate this word, but inject itself inside the app? Having that sort of intimate sort of connective tissue with that app, maybe that's important to you. Can it help administration of pinning between mobile apps and the API? So this is for the mobile API security vendors out there. I am constantly surprised how many mobile apps still don't implement pinning. It is so easy to do, but there's so many people, so many developers, so many organizations that are very risk adverse, and they do not want to implement pinning because they're afraid of bricking the app. I get it. That's a legitimate concern, but it is possible because there are some mobile API security vendors out there that make pinning administration very easy. So you need to ask yourself, is this a requirement for you? Do you have a mobile app? Are you using mobile APIs? And now, for those of you who are out of the know, pinning basically prevents me from executing what I like to call woman in the middle attack, where I use either Minim proxy or Burp Suite to interdict that traffic that's going from the mobile app to the back end. And if there's no pinning implemented, I can basically WIDM that session, decrypt it, and look at everything and determine how I want to actually structure my attack packets in, say, Postman. By the way, Postman, if you're in the audience, I absolutely love your product. I love Postman. Great API client. So, if you have a mobile app, basically what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't have a mobile app unless you've got pinning in place. I can't believe it. Like, out of all of the apps, the 30 apps I just tested, were none of them implemented pinning in healthcare. It's atrocious. It's so easy to WIDM mobile apps, and it's so easy to implement pinning. I don't understand how this is still a thing. All right, checking chat. Mastermind, thank you for joining us. Oh, I knew I wouldn't be able to live that down. Yes, I, in a recent show, said, you have the same amount of time that Steve Jobs had. And I like, it was deer in headlights moment, and everyone was laughing. And it was like, God damn it, I forgot Steve Jobs isn't alive anymore. So anyway, thanks, John. Or who was that? Was that John who said that? Who said that? Mastermind. Thanks, Mastermind. Appreciate that. Thanks for not letting me live that down. All right. Yeah, cool. Hi, everyone. I'm seeing you. See Chris Rock, Mastermind, Daniel, CD's here, Jay, Andrea, Rakesh. Oh, who's this? I see a new name. Oh, no, Alina and I saw that. We got Mel here. Oh, my wife watches my live streams. Isn't that nice for her? Look at that supportive wife. All right. My forecast for 2022. I'm going to play fortune teller for a moment and kind of talk about what's coming, right? I think a hell of a lot more venture capital is going to get poured into more API security vendors. As a matter of fact, I come with evidence, or at least evidence for me. I've had several API security vendors in stealth mode reach out to me recently, wanting me to take a look at their product and give them my 2 cents. There's just so much money being poured into this space. And I really believe this is largely because of this mass exodus away from monolithic applications to microservices. We're talking to an API security, I'm sorry, not API security vendor, microservices security vendor right now, and bringing them on as a client. So that's going to get announced soon. But a lot of really exciting things happening in microservices, Docker security, Kubernetes security, exploitation of breaking out of Docker containers. There's this exodus. I mean, I'm sorry, it's the way it is. It's 2021. Nobody really is building monolithic applications anymore. Everything's microservices. Acquisitions by CDNs. I think there's a lot of consolidation and roll up coming soon. I think there's going to be these really big CDNs. We just saw this happen with Fastly acquiring Signal Sciences. Another WEF. I think CDNs are going to start getting in on this and saying, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. Let's just start buying up these API security solutions. I think there's going to be some consolidations happening. So I'm big into M&A, as all of you know. More WAFs getting skin in the game. Is the budget for monolithic web app security getting smaller as deployment shrink with everything moving to microservices and APIs? I really do believe that. I think it's going to just get to a point. Obviously, there's situations, and please definitely comment in the chat, comment in the comments if you're watching this later. I really believe that there, of course, there's situations where organizations need to run something as a monolithic application. It doesn't make sense to break it up into microservices and APIs. But I think the budgets are starting to shrink on monolithic web application security solutions. I think they're starting to get smaller. I think it's becoming less and less of a thing. So I think more and more money is going to start getting poured into API security. And I think more venture capital is going to be following, and I think more acquisitions are going to be following. More hybrid cloud support. I think there's going to be more API security solutions realizing, hey, and Microsoft reintroducing the VTAP preview and bringing back the VTAP. They can't leave that off for very long. So, I think more support for cloud service providers are coming, and I think. I think that's where everything's headed. So that's it, everyone. That's it. Subscribe to my channel. We're going to be doing Q&A now, an AMA of Ask Ali Anything. Ramon, Mr. Marquez, yes, it will be available later. It will be on my YouTube channel, available for viewing. So again, help me, please. If any of you can tell your friends, I'm trying to hit 4,000 hours. I'm at 2,000 hours of watch time in order to be able to be monetized. So help me hit that 4,000. Help me hit that 4,000. So yeah, Ramon, it will be available on YouTube later. Mastermind, yes. Steve Jobs is alive, at least in my heart. Let me see if there's any. Come on, throw the questions in, people. Must be nice being a CISO. Not really. Nice comment though, John. Not really. It's hard. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. I have so much respect for other CISOs out there too. Well, I mean, I probably make it harder than it has to be too, because I am doing so many things. Yes, on top of running all these family companies, Night Entertainment, Night Publishing, Night Inc. We're also about to launch and announce a major announcement with a new company having to do with conferences. But I'm doing all of this, including I'm a CISO for a bank. So yeah, John. I mean, even if being CISO was my singular focus and I wasn't doing anything else, it would definitely still be hard. Let's see. Context is everything. Jay Thoden Jay, I'll just call you Jay. Jay, context is everything. How does an alert even get to the right team if the organization is big? That's a really good point, Jay. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me add a caption just in case, actually. Yeah, I agree, Jay. Context is so important. An understanding, making sure that your security solution understands the backend. For those of you that remember the snort days, with snort signatures. And I mean, a really big problem, a really big reason behind false positives is because of that lack of context, right? So, I mean, the IDS would see, Snort would see an Apache chunking exploit, but it didn't know if the backend web server that it was targeting was running IIS or Apache, right? There was no context, right? So, yes, Jay, agreed. Everything is important when it comes to context. No security tooling seems even able to bring organizational context. And yeah, I agree, Jay. I agree. I mean, it's a problem. And I think, and the interesting thing here with the API security market is you'll notice if you look at some of the API security solutions, they all approach application context differently. Some of them will actually inject, or I'll just say it, inject into the API or the app, and actually, ride right in there with the app. Some get that application context other ways from the edge. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm not saying one is right or wrong. I'm just saying that there's different approaches to this, and I agree with you, Jay. I mean, it's I think a requirement. I don't care how you do it. It's I mean, that application context awareness is important, though. Let's see here if there's any other questions. What's my thoughts on Broadcom Layer 7 API Gateway? John, that's a great question. Actually, when I was an analyst back in the day, working for the Ivory White too much coffee. Ivory White Tower. They actually had long conversations with them. I wrote a review on their technology. I actually, got in there and played with it. It's a cool solution. I mean, the thing is that I think, and then you have like the forum systems of the world. Actually, I forgot to add them to that slide. Forum systems of the world. To me, Layer 7 is an API management solution. It's an API gateway. It's not an API threat management solution. It's not an API security solution. I think there's API gateways with security functionality. Oh, my arm disappeared there. I think there's the gateways management solutions for APIs that have the added security is a feature, but I don't support that. I don't agree. I do not. It's like the TV VCR combo, right? Remember that TV VCR combos? If your VCR broke, all you had was a TV. Oh, Oscar, welcome. Thank you for joining us from Chile. What time is it in Chile? Oh my God. I feel so special that you woke up just for me. Oh, you know what? I should probably get rid of the deck now. Huh? What time is it there, Oscar? It must be late. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, I think that's important. I do context and security. Yes, do it. Yes, please. 9:12. Oh my God! Thank you for staying up so late to watch me. That means a lot. Thanks, Oscar. Is this your first time joining us? Yeah, let me know in chat, everyone. Is this your first time joining me? Let's see. Andrea bringing her sunshine as usual. Happy Friday. All right. I don't see any questions. All right. Well, this is your chance. I'll give you guys a few minutes before we cut out here to throw up any questions that you might have for me. Yeah. So that was my 2022 API Security Buyer's Guide. Oscar, thanks for joining us for the first time. Chris, thanks for joining us again. CD is a very good friend of mine. I absolutely adore him. We're starting to work on some projects together. I'm really excited about that. He's just a cool guy. Yeah, if you haven't seen, I actually interviewed him on Night TV on YouTube. If you haven't seen it yet, it's a great episode, and it features his dog. Chris, what's your dog's name? I forgot your dog's name. Anyway, yeah. So thank you. Ramon, first timer. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. I definitely need to do more of these live streams. So yeah, I need to do more of these, especially to help boost my watch hours. So if any of you are watching this after the live stream, and you're watching this on YouTube, put in the comments, let me know any questions, any comments you have on the state of the API security market. If you feel I'm wrong. If you think that web application firewalls are okay to use for APIs, and give your reasons why. Like I said, in a lot of my API research that I've been doing, a lot of those APIs that I was breaching, whether it's the mHealth apps where I was accessing a lot of patient records that I shouldn't have been able to access, with not just healthcare but also financial services. A lot of them were protected behind WAFs. That's the problem, right? Like again, WAFs are kind of it's a rules based thing. It's looking in the payload. It's looking for things that shouldn't be there. It's looking for bad stuff that's not contextual. And so I think because of that, it's just not going to be as effective at identifying all those OWASP API security top 10 vulnerabilities. Oh, by the way, also let me know if you want to see some new research from me. For example, I'm working with a lot of API security vendors now, creating content for them, doing product evangelism. We're going to be doing some like live fire exercises where I'm hacking APIs and showing how their solution would have prevented it, or demonstrating some of the attacks from the OWASP API security top 10. Sam, yes, Sam. Thanks, Chris. Sam, oh, he's such a cute dog. Yeah, you should check out that episode. It's a good episode. Yeah, Sam actually fell asleep while sitting up and then fell over. It was the cutest thing. Anyway, so yeah, WAFs. Don't do it. I'm like challenge me, spar with me. Let me know why you think WAFs can beat an API threat management solution in detecting attacks against your APIs. To me, it just feels like the WAF industry is just like, we're dying. We need to find something else to latch onto. APIs. They speak HTTP. Anyway, all right. Well, listen, I'm going to let all of you guys start your weekend. I love all of you. I absolutely adore you. Thank you for joining me today. Let me know in the comments of what you want me to do for the next episode. If you have an episode idea, or if you just want to give me your love and affection and tell me how much you love my content, it's appreciated. I love all of you guys. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and just be good to each other. Be good to each other. I love all of you. Thank you for being my fans. Thank you for following me. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads. Like it. Watch my videos. Help me with my watch times. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Mwah! You inspire me. Thanks, John. Thanks, Chris.